You can do every third. Well, how many do we have? Yeah, we
We got
we can do
7.
one each. So I'll do one.
Oh, we
Derek
have
does
6.
one, and then you do one.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the Atari one.
Yeah, and the Legend of Zelda one.
Okay, cool. Have you guys talked about the Until Dawn movie yet?
I have no. We have not.
Mm-mm.
Coming out with an Until Dawn movie. That's pretty sick.
Mm, I like that. I never played that game. I wanted to. It looks cool.
Dude, you definitely should. I want to get the new one because the remake, like the way the story is folded out, there's really no point in replaying it unless you just want a different result.
Yeah.
When they remade it, they changed the ending and they made it to where you can actually save all the characters.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like in the original, there was one character you couldn't save. He died no matter what. In the new game, you can actually try to save that character.
Huh.
Neat.
That's cool. All right, we about to start this thing. We good to go?
Mm-hmm.
I reckon.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and we're back for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
My name is Derek Diamond.
And joining us tonight for our community spotlight, which we're going to be getting back to again. It was supposed to be Rampage here tonight, but we've got to settle for Mr. Jacob Craig from the, says here, the Open Micers podcast. What, do you guys talk about mice or something?
First of all, I hate that joke and you know it. Second of all, I'm doing you a favor by being here because Rampage got deported by ICE. So he's out of the country. All right. So I saved your bacon by coming on this little show of yours. All right.
But it's Jacob Craig, everybody. He's been on the show a few times before. He's hosted in place of Derek when Derek has to take some time off, and he's my co-host over on the Open Micers podcast. So welcome to the show, good sir.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's always fun to be on Nerd Cave Retro, man. I'm glad whenever I get a chance to fill in for somebody.
For what we're going to be reviewing tonight, have you ever played a Sega Saturn before?
So here's the thing, Jason. I've never seen a Sega Saturn before.
That was before you were even born.
Yeah, I've never even laid eyes on it. My older brother grew up with the Sega Genesis. I've never seen a Sega Saturn in person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Did you at least look at some videos of tonight's show?
No, I told you I wasn't going to do that.
Going in cold. I love it.
Yeah, going in cold. Well, maybe Derek can convince you to actually buy a Sega Saturn and try out the game.
Well, if I see a Sega Saturn, then I'll definitely buy it. But to be honest, I frequent game stores, thrift stores almost every single weekend. That's like what I spend my weekend doing. I've never seen one even at a local game store.
Yeah,
I don't know where I would purchase one from.
They're hard.
They're pretty rare, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like ones come through every now and then at the couple of stores we have here, but I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen a Saturn in person at one of these shops.
And also, to anybody watching on video, Jacob is eating burnt pizza. That's what that is that he's eating. If you're wondering, what is that? It's burnt pizza.
And you thought I was done with that slice? I got a whole nother one sitting right here. I put 3 of them on the plate before I came in here, boys. We're going to have a good time.
But how was your week, Derek? How have you been?
Not too bad. Just been, doing the work thing. I'm trying to think. Honestly, the past week's been pretty uneventful. Just go to work, come home, watch TV. I'm almost caught up on Daredevil Born Again, which has really picked up over the last couple of episodes. And I've enjoyed the kind of courtroom drama part of it, but it's been going along at a pretty good pace. So really been enjoying that.
Yeah, I'm up to episode 3. I haven't. Are they on 4 or 5 now?
I think they're on 6, actually.
Oh, 6 already. Okay. Yeah, I got to get caught back up.
It's really good, though. I've really been enjoying it.
I finished up Severance. If you guys haven't seen that yet, that is a cool show. Have you guys seen Severance yet?
I've heard good things about it.
I can't even explain it because it would give everything away. Not everything, but it just you just need to go in cold and know that you're in for some weirdness. That's how you got to go in.
I dig that.
What about you, Jacob? You watching anything weird lately?
I do a podcast with you every week, so at least once a week I get to look at something weird for at least 30 minutes. But not related to necessarily watching things. What I did last weekend was I went to the flea market here in Gulfport, and there was this guy who was selling DVDs for 50 cents a piece. I'm there. All right. DVDs for 50 cents a piece. I thought about buying all of them. I bought one DVD that I want to go run and grab real quick. It's right there. I'm going to grab it and show you guys. I want to show you guys this DVD real quick. Hold on.
All right. This should be interesting.
50 cents per DVD. That's insane.
Yeah. Even at thrift store, they're like $2 now.
I know.
It's not porn. I don't know what you said, but it's not porn. So I bought, this guy had all of these obscure Kung Fu DVDs, and I bought a bunch of them. Some of them happened to be bootleg DVDs. I didn't know at the time that they were bootleg DVDs, but one that was a bootleg DVD, I don't know if you can see this. Dragon Ball, The Magic Begins. Have you guys ever seen this movie?
No. I've heard of it, but no, I've never seen it.
Yeah, so this is a DVD copy of Dragon Ball The Magic Begins, which is an unofficial live-action spin-off of the Dragon Ball anime.
I've seen some videos of that before.
So what this is this is actually legal to sell in the United States because this is a bootleg movie, but it's not bootlegged of a movie. This is a mass-produced bootleg film. So like people just bootlegged this, sold it in stores, and that's the only way to ever get in and watch it. And I found it for 50 cents at the flea market.
That's amazing.
I've never seen it, but I can guarantee you it's better than Dragon Ball Evolution.
I popped it in for a few seconds. Let me tell you, it's not. It's exceedingly worse.
That's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it's so bad. But this is actually really rare to find as well. I actually already have it listed on eBay. And a brand new copy of this sells for like $150.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. And in this condition, it sells for like $50. So I just threw it up on eBay for like $50. And if no one buys it, I'll be happy to keep it.
That's a heck of a profit you'll be making off of that.
Yeah, $49.50 in profit, dude. Let's fucking go.
Exactly.
So there's my one F-bomb for the show.
That's the one.
I get an F-bomb and a side boob, right? So there's that. Let's go ahead and get them both out of the way. Now I'm just pure wild card.
Yeah. Wow. On that note, we got a lot of news to get to. We ready to do the news, gentlemen?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going back to my pizza.
And all of tonight's stories were provided to us by Mr. Armez Jackson and I Am the Rampage. And if you have a news story you'd like us to cover, send them to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And the first one tonight comes from NintendoLife.com. Nintendo expands Switch Online's SNES library with 4 more titles. Let's see. They have released... let me look at it here. It is Lord of Darkness, New Horizons, Nobunaga's Ambition, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4 Wall of Fire. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the only one of these I've ever even heard of was Nobunaga's Ambition.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any of these, if I'm being completely honest. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4 sounds intriguing. I wonder why they're releasing the 4th one and not the first 3.
It sounds like it should have Fabio on the cover.
It should, and I'm kind of disappointed that it doesn't. I guess they're going the Star Wars route and going with part 4, and then they'll go back and release 1 through 3. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really know much about these. I'd be intrigued to learn more because... as we talk about, Nintendo doesn't really have any consistency with releasing games on their eShop. or their Switch Online. So you got to kind of take whatever you can get. But at least the covers look intriguing enough.
And apparently, Lord of Darkness is a sequel to Nobunaga's Ambition. So that's what that is. Never heard of it.
Nope. Same.
Good job, Nintendo.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up, also from NintendoLife.com, Chrono Trigger's lifetime sales have now surpassed the 5 million mark. The legendary 1995 role-playing game Chrono Trigger is currently celebrating its 30th anniversary. A lot of stuff celebrating its 30th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
And as part of this, Square Enix has provided a sales update. According to an official post on its website, combined sales across all platforms since the game's original release have now surpassed over 5 million copies worldwide. Below is a rough translation, with Square Enix also noting how the ports and remasters over the years have improved various aspects. This game, which was released for the Super Nintendo on March 11th, 1995, has since been ported and remastered for various hardware platforms and is still loved by game fans around the world as a masterpiece with a total of over 5 million copies shipped worldwide. That's a pretty good amount for a little RPG for the Super Nintendo. And I mean, I say that, jokingly, because it's like one of the best reviewed video games of all time. We reviewed this on the show a while back. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those games that I think I would have enjoyed it even more if I grew up with it.
Yeah.
And even, hearing about it back when I was a kid, because I would have been like 8 or 9 when this came out. So I remember hearing all about it, but never got around to it until we played it for the show.
Yeah, I was like 17 when this came out, so not that I was a little too old for it. I just wasn't playing my Super Nintendo by then, so going back and playing it again, I really liked it. Definitely a lot of games have emulated it since then. So 30 years worth of sales is, that's the goal, is to still be selling a game 30 years later.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jacob? Have you ever even heard of Chrono Trigger?
I've heard of Chrono Trigger. I've known you for more than 20 minutes. Jason can't be in a 20-minute conversation without bringing up Chrono Trigger.
Well, I mean, it is a retro gaming podcast. What do you expect?
No, but I mean, if someone out in the world met you, like if someone at the McDonald's drive-thru didn't give you your food fast enough, you'd bring up Chrono Trigger as a punishment.
You know what I'm going to do to pass the time while I wait on my order? Have you ever heard of this game called Chrono Trigger?
This next story comes from Glass Almanac. Atari unveils a refreshingly designed new handheld console. Alrighty. A blend of retro and modern with a heavy dose of retro. The GameStation Go isn't just another portable console with a D-pad and standard face buttons. Atari is reviving 3 iconic control elements that defined an era. So this is going to have a trackball, a paddle controller, and a full keyboard. These aren't just gimmicks, they're key to preserving the original gameplay experience of some of the most influential titles ever created, including a massive game library covering generations. The GameStation Go is set to launch with over 200 games spanning multiple Atari consoles, the 2600, 5200, and 7800, as well as arcade hits. But it's not just about looking backward. Atari is also bringing modern titles to the platform and has promised regular updates to expand the library over time. This is going to have a USB-C charging, HDMI output, and micro SD card support.
This is actually really cool, because a lot of those games you couldn't play because there is no way to play these games without a paddle or a trackball. So putting this in an actual handheld console, this might be worth getting depending on how much it is. I mean, if this is $500, no thank you. But if this is like $150, this might be worth getting.
Yeah, I would definitely get it for that. Especially you see the ones at all the game stores that are like, you'll see those things that have the NES, SNES, and like a Sega Genesis port for like $100. If it's something like that, then 1000% it's worth the money.
And plus, too, if there's a way to load games onto it as well, like a USB port or whatever, a way to download games from an Atari.
Mm-hmm.
If Atari does what Nintendo should do and have a website where you can go download those games onto any of the entire Atari library, from the Atari 2600, the 5200, the 7800, all the arcade stuff that they did. If there was a way to download all that stuff onto a handheld console, this would be an absolute winner for Atari.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I like that they're going all out with this, including the trackball, the paddle controller, because, like you mentioned, it's the only way you can play some of these games. It's kind of like Duck Hunt. You know, you don't want to play Duck Hunt unless you have a CRT television and the gun. Like, you want to have the full retro experience. So I'm curious to know how much this is. It doesn't say in the article, but if it's like Jacob said, if it's like $100, I'd get it.
Yeah,
easily.
I hope they don't do anything stupid like make it like $250, because that'll be way too much. But I don't know, Atari's doing some good moves lately. Like, they've done some pretty shady crap over the last decade or so, but man, the last couple of years they've really been doing some good stuff.
Let's just hope they don't get too greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the title of your memoir, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of shady crap over the last decade or so.
Here's another thing about the Atari from techtimes.com. Atari 2600 My Play Watch brings retro gaming to your wrist for $79.99, but there's a catch. Atari, a powerhouse in retro gaming, has entered the smartwatch market with the launch of the Atari 2600 My Play Watch. Priced at just $79.99, this smartwatch will help you relive the glory days of the classic Atari 2600 right on your wrist. Pays homage to the 2600 console. It triggers blah, 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 blah. Let's see. It comes with, it includes Centipede, Missile Command, Pong, and Super Breakout. There are health and fitness features inside the smartwatch. And it has a catch. It does not offer Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connectivity, which, why would you really need that for a watch? I mean, maybe if you could hook it up to your phone for that reason, but other than that, I mean, what more could you ask for $80? You know, most smartwatches are like a couple of hundred at least.
I'm not a fan of trying to play games on a watch.
No,
maybe it's just because my eyesight is really poor. But it's like I use my watch, you know, to track my steps, any kind of workout I do, and just tell time.
Yeah,
I don't really use it to play games.
It's a cool looking watch.
It is.
I mean, it would be cool to just to wear for, you know, for just as a conversation starter. But other than that, like, I'm not going to be playing games on that thing. I would need like a whole new set of glasses to even see this thing.
If they would sell the wristband as a separate thing, I would totally get it for my watch.
Yeah.
But that'd be about it.
That would be the smart thing for Atari to do. It just to offer the band as well for people that have what is Apple Watch? What do they call it?
Yep, Apple Watch.
Apple Watch, and put that strap on it. That would be awesome.
Oh, I'd love that.
Did you just ask what an Apple Watch is?
I don't have one, so I don't wear watches. I don't like wearing jewelry.
Yeah, I don't either. But you know, it's an Apple Watch.
I know.
Right?
I didn't know if they call. I never in my life said the words Apple Watch. Okay, I've never wanted one. Don't have a need for one. I don't care about the Apple Watch.
So, Derek, whenever we put Grandpa in a home, I'll carry on his legacy by hosting this show with you.
You might have to. My memory's getting pretty bad over here.
Oh, I know, dude. If your memory gets on the same level as your Googling skills, we're done for. There's no more podcast.
As long as someone can work the soundboard and all that, you guys can take the show. I'll give you the soundboard.
You're not going to have any choice. I'm going to have your whole estate in my name.
I haven't
just
put
let me
you
have
in the
my
will.
pick of a thing or two.
I haven't put you in the will yet, so tread carefully.
I'll just say I'm your next of kin. I'm like, hey, I'm his fat, long lost son.
See that this should be the next script that we write.
Yeah.
I think that'd be hilarious. From NintendoLife.com, you can now download Nintendo's new mobile app. To go out with a bang, Shigeru Miyamoto announced the new mobile app Nintendo Today during the latest Switch Direct. In case you missed it, this free app is now officially gone live on Android and iOS devices and is available to anyone with a Nintendo account. It's Nintendo's way of keeping fans up to date on the latest happenings in the world of Nintendo, with daily game-related news, calendar, and game release notifications, artwork, comics, and even fun facts about Nintendo series. I have not downloaded it yet, but it did release a pretty notable story, which we'll talk about in a second. But I think it's a good idea by Nintendo.
I might have to download this. I mean, I thought it would. I mean, I already have the Nintendo app for the Switch or the Nintendo Online, so I didn't really pay attention to this. So, but now that I know I can get like Zelda wallpapers and stuff from my phone, I might actually download it.
Yeah.
Now Jason's phone can match the Zelda wallpapers in his house.
Yeah.
This last story comes from NintendoLife.com. Legend of Zelda movie release date revealed, coming March 2027.
Stay alive long enough. Stay alive long enough.
Fat chance, buddy. Nintendo has announced the release date of its in-production live-action Legend of Zelda movie. The film will be released on 26 March 2027. What are the odds that that date gets pushed back during production?
Extremely high.
Extremely high. The firm made the announcement via its new app, Nintendo Today, released yesterday following its reveal in the March 2025 Nintendo Direct. Okay, they have a teaser on the article. The movie was first announced in 2023. Tom Rothman from Sony has said that the project is motivated by Shigeru Miyamoto's strong vision for the series, and Ball has spoken a number of times promising an ambitious film and saying he believes fans are going to be happy with the adaptation. No casting announcements have been made yet, and that is it. What do we think about the Legend of Zelda movie finally happening? I'll say I'm not a giant fan of it being live action. I think it would be better animated, to being perfectly honest, but I mean, it was bound to happen eventually.
Jason, you can go first.
Yeah, I just hope they can pull it off as live action, or if they, I mean.
So what are the odds that live action Legend of Zelda looks like live action Minecraft? Because if it looks like that, we might as well scrap it now.
Or, I mean, it could end up looking like Lord of the Rings, which is, the high bar. So as long as they can get close to that, I'll be happy.
Yeah, if they can get close to Lord of the Rings, Jason will be happy. Jason, you're going to be disappointed, Daddy. It's not going to happen. Let's get close to multiple Oscars.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out to Rampage,
yeah,
who's in the chat.
He can be in the chat, but not on the show? That's cute. What, do they have a signal in your ICE jail cell? Do they have one? Do they give you the Wi-Fi password down there, buddy?
But back to Legend of Zelda. What about you, Derek? What do you think?
Okay, well, I'll try not to go so long-winded because I could honestly spend a whole podcast about this. I do think the date's going to get moved because
too close.
It's coming out as of right now a week after Sonic 4. And Sonic has proven that it's a pretty decent moneymaker for Paramount. I mean, Sonic 3 made like $400 million. So it's pretty successful. What I'm hoping is, I have no problem with it being live action. The saving grace of it is the involvement of Shigeru Miyamoto, because he was heavily involved with the Mario movie, because like the pressure was pretty high, considering what happened last time Nintendo made a movie 30 years ago. So I think with his involvement, I think it will at least be decent. I hope that they go with mostly unknown actors, because if you use somebody that's notable like a Tom Holland or a Zendaya, you're going to look at them as like, oh, that's Tom Holland playing Link. I would rather them get an unknown actor and be like, okay, that's Link.
Yeah,
if you want
Timothy
to have any
Chalamet
CG,
gets cast as Link, we riot.
It's going to be Chris Pratt. I hate to break it to you, but Chris Pratt is going to be Zelda. Okay, he's not even going to be Link. He's going to be Princess Zelda.
if that happens, then if they just want to go full scale insanity, then go for it. But no, I'd be okay with, say, and it depends on what they do story wise. But if they have any like CG characters, maybe get some notable actors for that. Like if they include, say, like the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time, my first choice would be Ian McKellen to be the voice of that.
Ooh, that'd be pretty good.
Honestly,
But
I would kind of feel better about it if they did it, I say, in quotes, live action, like a lot of the, like, you know, the Lion King live action that Disney did, or Mufasa, where it's not really live action, but, you know, they do motion capture and they build the world in a computer to look that fantastical. I'd be okay with that. I don't know if I want full on live action or not. I just don't know. I'm gonna hold out hope that they're gonna knock it out of the park like Super Mario Brothers, but you know, you never know.
and if it's good, then I'll be insufferable for a while. And if it's bad, then I'll openly weep on the air.
And who was it that they had? Who's directing it? It's the guy that did. Hold on.
Wes Ball, who did The Maze Runner and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
And those are pretty good movies. So
And both have big CGI budgets in both of those movies too. So it makes you think that maybe they're doing a lot with CGI there.
And then the Apes movies, a lot of motion capture. So you know.
Yeah,
because they're gonna have to do, if they include like the Gorons and the Zoras, especially, like that's all gonna have to be motion capture. A lot of it's gonna depend on the budget too.
I mean, surely they'll have a pretty big budget. I think it depends on, you know, are they expecting this to be a theatrical release, or do they want this to go straight to like a streamer like Netflix?
No, they are gonna want this to be theatrical.
Oh, 100%.
You think that, but guess what? Axel F is on Netflix.
And it should have been in the theater. I hate to say that, but, well, I mean, I don't hate to say that.
But if there's a big enough deal, there's a big enough check that they can cut for the movie, then 1,000% they'll do it.
I don't know. I mean, Legend of Zelda, if it turns out to be good, and there's a lot of positive feedback as far as, like, test audiences and stuff, they're definitely going to put this out in theater. But if it's kind of... people don't know what to think about it, it'll probably end up on Netflix or something.
But it's easier to pirate a movie that's on that's in the theaters than it is on Netflix too. Like, no one actually goes to the theaters anymore. Guess what? I'm not admitting to any crimes, but there's ways to watch movies without going to the theater.
Don't you talk about complex ways of watching movies now.
No.
And who knows if theaters will even still be around in 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they will, but
right.
They're dying a slow death.
If it goes
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if it goes to theaters, then they have to do something like the AMC popcorn bucket to get people to go see the movie.
Oh, if they did like a Hylian Shield popcorn bucket, I'd get like 5 of them.
Yeah, they got to do something like that
Just
to get
display
people
them all back here behind me.
Yeah.
As my wife would yell at me for spending so much money on popcorn buckets.
Dude. But I will say, before we get off the subject, you know, you were talking about actors that can play people. This is kind of a field that I'm an expert in. This is what I used to do on the internet. I used to write stories about, you know, who could play what characters.
Jacob Craig as Ganondorf.
Yeah, dude. I can play one of the giant like rock people or whatever. I could be one of those. I've never played Legend of Zelda.
Well, who would you pick to play Link and Zelda in the game in the
So,
movie?
well, so I have an idea for Link. What do we think about for a younger Link at the beginning of his journey? Walker Scobell from Percy Jackson, the new Percy Jackson kid.
I wouldn't hate that.
And if it's an older Link, we could go for Asa Butterfield from Ender's Game.
Hmm.
They're both pretty Link-esque.
I never saw the Percy Jackson movie, so I wouldn't know who that kid is.
Well, you're talking about from the newer series, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I could see him as a young Link.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think that'd work out pretty well. And for, I don't have an idea for a younger Zelda, but for an older Zelda to complement Asa Butterfield, maybe an Alexandra Daddarow from the original Percy Jackson films, someone like that.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just get the whole Percy Jackson cast over on the Legend of Zelda movie there, Mr. Jacob Craig?
Why don't I just leave this podcast right now? I don't have to be here. I'm doing you a favor.
He's here of his own choice.
Yeah, I don't know who I would cast in either one of those roles, honestly. I mean, I can't even think of anyone.
I mean, Ganon should be just a voice actor, under some CGI. Maybe we get Vin Diesel as the voice of Ganon.
I was going to say The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Family.
No, just get Stone Cold Steve Austin to do the voice. That'd be awesome.
What?
Because Ganon said so.
What?
I'd watch that movie. But anyway,
that'd be great.
We're starting to run a little late, boys. So let's jump over to, before we do the review tonight, we always have to do our Patreon shout outs. Derek, please take it away.
As always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Riley, Romaldo Marquez, Mr. Wally Phelps, Brian Piotrowski, Nick W., Eld the Zombie, Yup Fed, a.k.a. Knife, James, a.k.a. at Jimbo Jr. on our Discord, Raven, Danny House, Justin Nispel, Daniel Salmon, Mr. B. Rez Coffee himself, Mike Eveland, Tyler Watson, Axeblade07, Armez Jackson, Carlos Longoria, a.k.a. I am the Rampage.
Rest in peace.
Staff Sergeant Sketch, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Darlene, Miss Grace Potato, a.k.a. Joey Image. We've got another name for him, too, but I'll save that one for next week.
That's next week.
Yep. And, of course,
Mama Diamond.
Donna Diamond. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions and keeping the lights on for us here at the Nerd Cave Retro Podcast. For as little as $1 a month, you get two things. You get your own personal RSS feed with 0 ads.
0.
So if you want to just hear a continuous, uninterrupted, great conversation like the three of us have been having, it only costs you $1 a month. Mm-hmm. And you get early access to our bonus episodes, which if you want to join our Patreon, now's the perfect time because we just started our Dungeons & Dragons campaign, Nerd Cave Retro Quest. And I had a lot of fun. I've never played Dungeons & Dragons before, but I had a blast. Wally did a great job as our dungeon master. It took some fun twists and turns that I won't spoil on this show, but definitely go check it out.
And just think, we still have 2 more months of it as well. We're doing 3 sessions, a short little quest that we're doing. I had so much fun. Joey was supposed to be there, but he had some family obligation stuff on Friday. So it started out with just me and Derek, and we had a barrel of fun on that episode.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So if you want that
tease
right now, if you're listening to this show, it's the perfect time to be a patron because it's the beginning of the month. You'll get charged as little as $1 or whatever tier you want to be a part of. Just as little as $1. You can find that in your couch cushions, and you can go get that episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Quest right now.
And that ain't no April Fool's joke.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
If you want to be a part of our awesome Patreon community, head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And for new patrons, send us your social media info so we can give you a proper shout out.
And tonight, Derek's going to be talking about... I will say, none of this music was anything like I expected it to be from what I saw of this game beforehand.
You know, I agree, but I actually quite enjoyed the music. And before we get into it, Rampage says, I vote that we replace Jacob on OM Podcast for a rotisserie chicken.
Virtually identical.
No lie, anytime I go to like Walmart or Publix and I see a rotisserie chicken, I think of the Open Micers podcast.
And I'm glad you do.
But as far as the review tonight, I'm going to be talking about a game that I have known about since its initial release in 96, but have never played up until this past week, and that is Nights into Dreams, which is a 1996 action game developed by Sonic Team and published by Sega for the Sega Saturn. The story follows the teenagers Elliot Edwards and Clarice Sinclair, who say those 5 times fast, who enter Nightopia, a dream world where all dreams take place. With the help of knights and exiled Nightmarin, they begin a journey to stop the evil ruler Wise Man from destroying Nightopia and consequently the real world. So my first experience to this game was not the game itself, but a comic book series. Back in the day, Archie Comics published the Sonic the Hedgehog series, and they did a 3-issue miniseries based off of Nights into Dreams. And it was popular enough that they did another set of books, like another 3-issue series, but they didn't continue it after that. So that was kind of my first introduction as far as like how the dream world worked, you know, in this particular setting. And basically what it is that the dreams play out in this dream world. And the game starts with actually some pretty good graphics-wise cutscenes with both Elliot and Claire having nightmares. Like Claire's a singer, so we see her having a nightmare where she gets stage fright and can't perform. And then Elliot is playing basketball at school and gets pretty badly beaten. And you know, they're reliving that, and then they end up having to help Knights, who is imprisoned, break out and stop Wise Man from conquering the dream world and then consequently the real world. But the way the game works, it's not a whole lot different than a Sonic game, believe it or not. It's developed by Sonic Team, so it definitely has like a Sonic feel to it. What you basically have to do is you start out in this kind of dream sequence where you're playing as either Elliot or Claire. And you go up to this gazebo-looking thing, and that's where Knights is imprisoned. Once you break him out, you switch to playing as him, and you have to fly around the course and collect these blue orbs. But you only have a certain amount of time to do it. And you have to go back to the starting point before time runs out. Otherwise, you lose all your points and you get an F ranking. And then you have to do it again. So it takes some memorization to kind of learn where the orbs are and how you can get them in an efficient way, because if you have the time, you can explore each level and collect things to get, you know, bonus points to raise your score and get a higher rank. Because there are 3 different endings, I believe, in the game. You get like you have to get at least a C grade to go on to the next level. You get like your middle ending, your slightly higher ending, and then you get the perfect ending. So it's a very easy game to pick up. But I wish this game would have come out like on the Dreamcast, because the fact that it came out for the Saturn, I think was a detriment to it, honestly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I wonder why they never re-released this on the Dreamcast. Like, it seems like it would have done so much better. I mean, not that the Dreamcast did much better than the Saturn, but I don't know why they never ported this over.
Well, and the thing with the Dreamcast too is, you had the Sonic Adventure games, you had a few other games that did get ported to other systems. So I think it would have been more likely if it were released for the Dreamcast. And even when Sega discontinued it and they just made games for like Nintendo and Sony, why they didn't just do like a beefed up version of it. Because it is a fun game. It's just it gets a little repetitive at times, but there's a lot that I like about it. I really like the graphics. I mentioned the opening cutscenes. It looks better than really any game from the Nintendo 64, which is
that's not hard to do.
No, I know, but still, the fact that we rarely talk about the Saturn. We've mentioned it in passing, but we haven't talked about it in depth. But graphically and music-wise, this game's pretty good. I think that it holds up for what it is. Like for its time in '96, I think the graphics look great, and they don't look terrible now.
Yeah.
And as far as the soundtrack goes, you mentioned that the soundtrack doesn't seem like it really fits. But as you're listening to it, it kind of has like an easy listening vibe. As I put that in my notes, that some of the tracks have this kind of like, not a memorable beat, but one that you can just kind of be like, all right, it's kind of relaxing as you're just flying around collecting stuff. So, overall, I actually had quite a bit of fun playing it. Like, it's not one that I think I would go back religiously and play, but I'm glad that I did. Because I've talked about this game for years.
Yeah.
As far as reviewing it. But yeah, it's we mentioned earlier, like, trying to sell Jacob on getting a Saturn. I wouldn't get a Saturn just for this game, but if you can find other means to play it, if you know what I mean, it's worth it.
Wink, wink.
As I'm not twirling my mustache like an evil villain from an old movie.
I mean, the game looks great. It's very stylized, so I think that kind of covers up a lot for like the polygonal graphics and stuff. And I think the Saturn did that stuff pretty good, because it was somewhere in between like the 32X and the Nintendo 64, like 48-bit maybe, or something like that. Not quite 64, not quite 32. It's somewhere in the middle there. So it does have like a cool cartoony. Most games did look good that I've seen from the Saturn. Like, what was the Sonic game that was on there? It wasn't Spinball, but it was Sonic
3D Blast.
3D Blast. That game looks great, but it just, I don't know. I think it was just a weird console for a weird time in gaming that just didn't take off.
It's kind of like, and I don't want to insult the Saturn by saying this, but I kind of think of the Wii to Wii U, then to the Switch. The Wii U was just kind of there.
Yeah.
And wasn't really memorable. And that's kind of how I view the Saturn. Because even back then, I'm like, I've got the Nintendo 64, so
yeah,
I don't really want to play the Saturn. Because with the Genesis, you had the 3 Sonic games plus Sonic and Knuckles. You had Vector Man. You had a couple of other games that would justify getting it. I wasn't going to get a Saturn just for 3D Blast, because it came out for the Genesis too.
Yeah. And I
wasn't going to get a Saturn just for Knights.
Yeah, and any of the friends I had that had a Sega Genesis at this time, they had all the add-on stuff that made it look like a giant toilet by this time. And, they're spending hundreds of dollars on all that, like the 32X and all that. Nobody bought the Saturn. It was in the stores for like a week before it was gone.
It basically turned into a transformer.
Yeah.
The Sega thing that you're talking about. But yeah, it says here, Nights into Dreams received acclaim for its graphics, gameplay, soundtrack, and atmosphere. It's been cited as one of the greatest video games ever made. I don't know that I'd go that far, but it is one that, you know, it's like a Sonic game in the fact that it's easy to pick up. Like with a Sonic game, your objective's clear. You get to the goal as fast as you can.
Yeah.
With this, you collect stuff as quickly as you can. And I'm not a hater of time limits because I kind of like having that little sense of urgency that you only have this short amount of time to get all of this stuff done. So it adds a level of replayability to it because once you figure out where the orbs are, you can just collect everything or as much as you can. And you want to keep trying to break your score and get that higher rank.
I'm
so
also
that you
seeing,
get the
seeing
go
here,
ahead.
Derek. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before,
No, go ahead.
You know how we're always looking for Christmas games because there are just not a whole lot of Christmas games. This game had a Christmas game. Is it a sequel or what the hell is this?
It just says here a shorter Christmas-themed version called Christmas Nights was released in December 96. I did take note of that, and I'm like, I'll review that around Christmas time. I guess if it's popular enough to earn a Christmas spinoff.
Oh, it said it was just, I think it was just in Japan. It says in Japan, Christmas Nights was included as part of a Christmas Sega Saturn bundle and distributed free to Saturn owners who covered the shipping cost. Elsewhere, it was given away with the purchase of Saturn games such as Daytona USA Championship Circuit Edition or issues of Sega Saturn Magazine and Next Generation Magazine. In the UK, it was not included with Sega Saturn Magazine until December 97.
Yeah, and it also featured several unlockable bonuses, such as being able to play the game's soundtrack, observe the status of the A-Life system, experiment with the game's music mixer, time attack one mare, or play as Sega's mascot, Sonic the Hedgehog, in the minigame Sonic the Hedgehog into Nights. Sonic may only play through Spring Valley on foot and must defeat the boss, an inflatable Dr. Robotnik. Because why would you not want to fight an inflatable Dr. Robotnik? But as far as the overall reception of the game, it got some really high scores. It held an average of 89% at Game Rankings based on an aggregate of 9 reviews. Upon release, Computer and Video Games magazine called it one of the most sensational video games ever made. See, Computer and Video Games rated it 5 stars, EGM 8 out of 10, Eurogamer 9 out of 10, GameFan 387 out of 400. That's a very weird way to score a game, but I'll allow it. Game Revolution gave it an A, IGN 8.7 out of 10. And it also won Best Graphics and Best Programming from the Japan Game Awards the year it was released. So this is going to be kind of a tried and true rinse and repeat explanation that we've given on this show. If I played this game as a kid, I would look at it completely differently. Like I would probably say this is like a 9.5 or a 10 because I do think the graphics are great. The music is fun. It's a game that anybody can pick up and play. I'm very curious because I believe it says here that there was a sequel called Journey into Dreams that was released for the Wii. I do remember this.
Yeah, I was seeing here that they did have a sequel. It was in April 2007 because they did have one that they confirmed for the Dreamcast, but it was canceled in December of 2000. And it was called Air Nights.
Yeah, I'm curious about the sequel for the Wii. I might have to look more into that.
Yeah.
But as far as what I would give it, Rampage rating gives it an E76 out of Bob. I'm gonna give it a good 8.5 out of 10. Like I really enjoyed it. I think really anybody who likes kind of I won't call it a collectathon, but it's just like a simple type of flying game. You do have to fly through rings, but it makes sense
Okay.
once you play it.
Well, I don't know. With Sega coming out with that new online thing that they're got coming soon, they might be able to play this online pretty soon.
I hope so, because this game actually was available on Steam for the longest time, but they removed it in December.
That's probably what's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I recommend, if you have the means to play it, absolutely do it. It's a fun little world that you're in this game, and it kind of reminds me of, like, I could picture this being like a show that would come on Nickelodeon on like Saturday mornings because of like the fantastical element to it. So I enjoyed it.
So what about it, Jacob? Did Derek convince you to go out and buy a Saturn so you can play Nights in and Dreams?
Yeah, dude, I will go to the Sega Saturn store and I'll buy a freaking Sega Saturn because, that's like every Starbucks is just right there on the street corner. I promise if I find a Sega Saturn, dude, I will buy it.
Yeah.
I will buy it.
I'm just picturing Jacob walking up to, like, he's going to go into Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, but then next to it is just this big building with this giant Sega Saturn logo at the top. Like, it's bigger than the Empire State Building. And he's like, you know what? I'm getting a Saturn today.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be cool if they actually put this on the Sega. What are they calling that thing? Do we even know what it's being called yet? The Sega Online Library or whatever?
I'll look it up.
It's probably going to be called the Sega Online Library.
Probably. Is that something you'd be interested in, Jacob? Or have you played enough Sega to be interested?
I mean, I'm not a big reader, but I'll check out the Sega Online Library.
I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool to have it on. I might try it out if the Sega Online Library is worth. I might get it for a month or two just to see what it's like. Play a few games on there. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Before we get out of here, Jacob, tell everybody what's going on with the Open Micers podcast.
What if I don't want to?
You don't
what
have
would you
to.
do? What would you do if I just said no?
You're like, well,
Nope.
Let's move on to Derek and see what he's got going on.
No lie, Jacob. There's been times where when he asked me to read the Patreon shout outs, I thought about just going, nope.
No, I'll take the free promotion. Yeah, if you guys aren't listening to the Open Micers podcast, definitely go over there and listen to it. If you like hearing me and Jason banter back and forth, there's a lot of episodes where it's just me and him, just telling stories, roasting each other, just telling little jokey jokes. And if you're a comedy fan and you're interested in, kind of how the comedy industry works, or just hearing funny stories from at this point, pretty famous, popular comedians, then go check us out. This month alone, we're slated to have on 2 Kill Tony Golden Ticket winners. So yeah, we're getting there, man. Yeah, go check us out. And you can get on our Patreon, patreon.com/OM podcast for little as $1 a month as well. And you can watch Jason tase me. I got shot with a BB gun. I ate raw eggs. I ate rotisserie chicken with the hottest hot sauce on earth on it.
I made him eat Brussels sprouts and he almost vomited.
I drank a ranch flavored soda and I did vomit. So if you're interested in, crazy stuff like that, go get it on our Patreon.
I do want to second something that Jacob said. The hostful episodes, and this isn't a knock to the guests that you have on, just hearing you guys banter is worth the price alone. Like the one from this past week, like it had me where I almost had to leave my office because I was just just like, kind of shaking because I was trying to hold in my laughter so much.
Yeah, this last week was a banger, man. We had
It
a
was so
lot of
good.
stuff to say on the last episode.
I don't remember what we talked about.
Oh, we
If
talked
you want
about
if you want a good biology lesson,
yeah.
check out especially the last half of the show.
Oh, I remember what I did. You want me to tell the story on here?
No.
Let's get you guys an E rating on the podcast.
If you want to
store or
hear
whatever.
Jacob having a really bad boom boom all over himself, go check out the last episode of the Open Micers podcast, and I talk about the weird stuff that the human body does when you hit 40.
Wear headphones
Yeah.
when you listen to the Open Micers podcast.
So
Or don't.
yeah, let everybody hear. What about you, Derek? What's going on in your world before we get out of here?
Nothing too much right now. As I mentioned before, you can follow my wife's short film Plain Jane at facebook.com/plainjanemovie. And within a couple of weeks, once I get the details ironed out, I will let everyone know the new podcast I'll be doing.
Fantastic. Also,
Another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this dude reboots podcasts like he's a dang Godzilla movie. How many are you gonna end and then do again?
This is a new show.
He's
This
collected
isn't
them. He's collected
This
them
isn't
like
a reboot of
like
the Derek Diamond Experience.
Yeah, he's collecting them like like
Infinity
Thanos.
Stones.
Infinity Stones. They're the Infinity podcast.
Oh, you just gave me an idea for a meme.
Yeah, he added real wisdom to the gauntlet, and now it's time for something else.
Oh man, what was I going to say? Don't forget next month is WrestleMania month here on the Nerd Cave Retro podcast because WrestleMania is coming up and we're going to be reviewing wrestling games. So I think I'm not sure what I'm doing next week. I might do either SmackDown versus Raw or I forgot, SmackDown 2004, I think, for the PS2. I have to look and see. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do next, but it's going to be a WWE game for the PS2, definitely.
Can't wait.
So that's about it. Anything else before we get out of here, Derek?
I think that's it.
Well, let's walk out the door. Thank you to Mr. Jacob Craig for being here this week. And go check us out. Or you can leave us a... Oh, shoot. Hold on. Stop playing the music. I forgot. We have a listener review from the Discord. Sorry. Let me do this real quick. From Nick Wendling. I knew I forgot to do something. For the listener review, and if you need to dip out, Jacob, I know you got to get going here soon. But for the listener review, this is from Nick Wendling. He says, for the listener review, I'm going to review the classic JRPG Suikoden. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Suikoden 1, I think, which originally came out for the PS1 in North America on December 23rd, 1996. The game plays like your typical turn-based JRPG. However, in this game, you can have up to 6 party members. You can equip runes to your party members, which have a certain amount of uses. Those uses replenish whenever you rest at an inn. You can also equip a rune piece to a weapon. There is also unite attacks, which can be performed when certain allies are in your party. The game features over 108 different characters to recruit. 90 characters are available to use as party members. Battles are turn-based, and the game has random encounters. I don't know. I hate random encounters, but we'll keep going. There are no weapons and weapon shops in the game. However, your weapon can be upgraded by a blacksmith. You can purchase armor and items. Each character has a limited number of inventory available, and yes, equipment does take up inventory. There's also duel and war battles, which play out similar to rock, paper, scissors. For the story, you are the son of the great General Teo. Teo leaves to go north to fight a battle, and you begin your new journey as part of the Imperial Army. Soon afterwards, one of your companions, Ted, that's not very Japanese, gets hurt on the Imperial Army. He gets hurt by the Imperial Army because they find out he has the Soul Eater, one of the 27 true runes. Ted gives you the rune, and you are forced to flee town of Gregminster. Once you escape, Victor tells you he is part of the rebel group known as the Liberation Army, who is commanded by Odessa. She dies during attack by the Imperial Army. The hero secures a new hideout in an old castle that was abandoned. Thing about your new hideout is the more recruits you get, it will change your hideout. To get the true ending of the game, you need all 108 recruits. Visually, the game is gorgeous. Some of the gameplay changes in the HD remaster, which includes auto battle, and auto save, and a battle fast forward. I very much recommend this game. Now that I like. I like when they do auto battles and battle fast forward in remakes, especially at JRPGs.
Yeah, I've heard of this game. I've never played it, but it's good to hear that someone enjoyed it. So I might have to check it out one day.
What about you, Jacob? Does that sound like something you'd want to play? I know you're a huge JRPG guy.
Big JRPG guy. People actually call me Big JRPG. That's actually my street name.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
what I
better put
call
some
you.
respect on it. You better put some respect on Big JRPG over here.
That could be your wrestler alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because Big JRPG said so.
But if you're interested in that, you like a JRPG and a remake that gives you some good upgrades for the game, go check it out. Suikoden 1, which I've never heard of, but might try it out one of these days. But it sounds like it's a long game, so that's something that you got to save for like summertime or something. But anyway.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get out of here. We'll go ahead and walk out the door. If you want to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. Also, you can leave us a voice message now at voicecast.app/NCR. And if you don't have to sign up for anything, you just leave a message. That's all there is to it. And we do have a button right there, which is at nerdcaveretro.com. That's our link tree. We have the button for the VoiceCast app right there. You can leave us a message, and it takes you everywhere you need to go. All our socials, our Patreon, and, of course, our merch shop, which is ncrmerch.com, which you can get t-shirts, hats, magnets, bags, mugs, and whatever your nerdy heart desires. And also, if you can't be a patron, you can't give us money on the store, I understand times are tough. The thing you can do is go leave us a review and or a 5-star rating on all podcasting platforms. So with that being said, Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
And thank you all for watching on YouTube. Thanks for Rampage for hanging out with us and all the people that like to leave messages and stuff on YouTube. Thank you all, and we'll see all of you. Wait, let me put up my ending thing here so you guys know to go like and subscribe. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys